Welcome back to another video. And in this video, y'all, we're going to talking about trading with the trend. Of course, using the VWAP indicator, we use this for both confirmation for the trend as well as levels to actually bounce and reject from. So we also use this indicator definitely for certain setups on certain days, really. So here's what the VWAP is in just layman's terms. I'm gonna just break it down for you guys in the most simplest term possible. The volume weighted average price, or the VWAP as we call it, is a popular technical indicator for day traders. That's all it is. VWAP calculates the average price of an asset based on both price and volume throughout the trading day. It is represented as a single line on the intraday chart. So we use this for our daily session, not for like the long-term swing trade type setups, but more so day trading. But the VWAP always starts fresh at the opening bell and it calculates the end at the to the market close. Basically, it opens up a fresh new VWAP every single trading day. So that way the VWAP is always calculating differently every single day. Now, there are rules of thumb when I do trade using the VWAP. I mainly use this as a trend indicator to help me stay on the right side of the market trend intraday if price does look a little bit weird because of just market conditions, right? So one rule that I always stick to myself is that if price is above the VWAP, then I look for long or buy positions. If price is below the VWAP, then I look for short or sell positions. Why? Because the VWAP is really used for intraday trend confirmation. So I want to stay on the right side of the trend every single day by just using this indicator. Now, like I said, it's just an indicator. It's not the absolute end all be all. I use it in conjunction with the strategy of the 15-minute opening range, just so that way I stay on the right side of the trend until the trend changes intraday. So the VWAP is just used as a filter for me. So if price breaks the 15-minute high, but is below the VWAP, me personally, I tend to stay out because it could be a possible trap unless price action tells me otherwise. So like I say, it's just a filter. It's not the end all be all for me. If I'm confident in a setup, then I'll take the trade. But most times I'll always wait for confirmation with price action and volume. Now, also with the VWAP, we also use it as a bounce and rejection play. So because VWAP also acts as a dynamic support and resistance for taking a continuation setup or a pullback setup, as I call it. So I'm gonna get right into the charts. I'm gonna show you guys exactly how I use it with the 15-minute opening range. I'm gonna show you guys exactly. So I had the same chart from last week or from last video. It's the same exact thing. I haven't changed anything because I want to definitely keep this informative and of course to keep you guys in the loop. So this is actually trading view. So with this, right, let me do it this way. So I can make change like this. Okay. So how to add the VWAP percent? You go to indicators up here. You want to just simply just type in the letters VWAP. And it's going to say volume weighted average price. That's the one that you want. So once you click on that and you add it, it's going to look a little bit different. So, but I'm going to show you all my settings that I use in order to get the view out the way that I want. So once it's on there, right, you want to go to the little bar right here. Then inputs, mainly keep this the same. This you don't change. It's usually this way on default. You're fine with this. The style, you have to change a few things, right? So I get rid of the upper band, the lower band, and the band field. This I personally do not need. I give it all this. And the VWAP is usually like that. It's usually much skinnier. I give it more depth because I don't have too many indicators on my chart anyway. I just use like the media version just so that way I can just see it better. That's really it. And that's good for VWAP. But if we go to this chart here, as we can see, right, this was the same thing I told you on the last video about the 15-minute opening range to the downside. Well, what do we see here? Pre-market price hit the VWAP and it acted as what? Resistance. But as you can see, it consolidated here. Bears came through. Bulls tried to step in. Bears came in again at the VWAP for the rejection play and took us all the way down. Same thing here. It hit VWAP and it went down. So when the 15-minute range formed here on this candle right here, what did we do? Bears took us even lower. Why would I look for a long position if we're below the VWAP? That goes against my rules that I've set for myself. I always want to stay on the right side of the trend. What do we see here on this day? We formed a 15-minute bear flag. This is a short play, but we're below the VWAP. So the VWAP acts as a trend continuation confirmation and also acts as a rejection and a bounce play. Now, as far as a bounce play, this is actually March 23rd today. Let me show you what I mean. So here's the 15-minute range. I'm gonna show you that. Let me go here. Where's that? I hate how trading view is sometimes. So here's the 15-minute candle. This is the range. But what do we see? We broke out 15 minutes right here on the doji candle. This means indecision. We don't know where price is going to go. So the 5-minute, right? What do we see? We broke out a little bit lower volume here, but we formed a bit of a little weird little bull flag. And price continued up, but we were what? Above the VWAP. It shows us the trend. But of course, we had this big candle here because of a Trump tweet. Then, that was it. But what do we see here? We broke below the 15-minute range to the downside. Now, me, with what I know based upon my strategy, this is my setup. We had a 5-minute candle close with high volume. We pulled back into a bear flag. Remember, bear flags, they pull back on low volume. The candle volume got decreased as well as the candlesticks. It took us low. Now, would I get short right here? No. Simple being, this is the VWAP. We don't get short until we're below the VWAP. Now, this is kind of trend trading, but a bear flag is my setup and I have to take it. That's me personally. But as we can see here, bears tried. Bears tried right here. This right here is a big bearish candle. Tiny wick, but this is the VWAP. It's also, remember, as I say, it's used as support and resistance. So bulls bounced us here, boing, just like that. It was a weak bounce, low volume, but bulls stepped in again. Why? Because they bounced it right here, this candle. And look where it's at. Support. Now it bounced up. So if we're at the VWAP, you don't just get short and long. I always wait and see what price does at the VWAP. So you could have took a long here and a long here because we're above the VWAP. And that's why the VWAP keeps you on the right side of the trend, but it also shows you to be patient. So you could have missed the long here and right here, whatever the case is. You could now this breakout retest you could have took it or not, depending. But the VWAP just shows you the trend on the day. And as you can see, we're still in a bullish trend until we break below the VWAP and we form a bearish setup and a continuation to the downside. That's why the VWAP is helpful. It keeps us on the right side of the trend, and it helps me personally to take every single trade that I see or just every single setup that I see. It keeps me to only look for certain positions in certain conditions. That's it. That's why we always powerful, y'all. It just shows the intraday trend. Let me show you guys some more examples, right? Here we go. Right here. This was a day. It was a choppy day. But nonetheless, what do we see here? We're below the VWAP. Price kept rejecting 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. It rejected all day on this day until after market close, it shot right up. You could have went short here, 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 but the trend on the day was bearish. Let's go back to another. Let's see it. Here's one right here. A bearish day. Price went down. We're below the VWAP. We were above the VWAP overnight. Bears took us below the VWAP and they took control. So you want to look for short positions within your strategy or with my strategy, the 15-minute range breakout retest. Here's right here. Is the 15-minute range right here. The first 15-minute, we do first 5-minute candles, 1, 2, 3, there's the range. But look at this. We broke out with volume, retested with low volume, and went lower. This right here is confirmation. You always want to have more than 2 to 3 confirmations for an entry. That's why I personally use, and it works best for me. And it keeps my win to loss ratio definitely much more higher. And that's it for the VWAP. It's really simple to use. You just plug in, just plug and play to your strategy and just stick to those rules. Don't go long below the VWAP and don't go short above the VWAP. That's really it.